Come on in, guys. Welcome to the Please Survive podcast. I'm Jessica.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Molly, and I guess we're not saying how advanced we are in Survivor yet, but I've just watched my third episode. And a
Hey.
quick note to anyone who is watching this on YouTube, thank you for being here. I am in sunglasses, and my eyes are shut. I think I slept in my contacts, and it did not go well for once, which I've always been told is contact abuse, and I shouldn't do it. But I did, and now I'm feeling infinitely worse for comparing Rick Devens to Stevie Wonder a little bit last week. So here we are. I'm in my Stevie era.
It's okay. You're right. We should remind people it's only 3 episodes in, and every episode is someone's first episode. I'm the casual viewer, and Jess is the encyclopedia. Sand? Anyway, you're the super fan, Jess.
Yeah, I mean, certainly at least of this bunch. I would,
Yes.
I'm not super fan of the world, but
sure.
but this group, yes.
Well, this podcast is a microcosm for people
Yeah.
who watch Survivor. So
Indeed.
that's where we're at. We got to pick it up. I mean, I do want to say we finally get some intro credits, though. I think that is something that should be mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know if they heard my pleas or what, but I gotta say, the intro is surreal.
I'm so glad.
It's surreal. Like it's all like it's just like it's all hyper. Like it's like 8K. Like the people look both grotesque and model-esque at the same time. It's just wild. I am happy that the intro's here for a multitude of reasons.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't get that, like, their first season and then the major close-up of them now.
Yeah, the return to, hey, look how old everyone looks.
Like, I think it's super weird that we didn't get, like, from season 1, like, Jenna in Borneo. Like,
yeah.
Well, they'd have to, the dimensions and stuff wouldn't match, but whatever.
Should we just jump right into this tribe swap?
Yeah. This is super early for a tribe swap.
That's what the fans wanted, Jess.
Oh, no, I'm okay with it. I'm just saying.
I'm not sure. I'm still confused on all the fan stuff because none of it crossed my radar doing anything for this season.
I was gonna ask if either of you voted.
Of course I did.
I went. I do remember last season there was times that you could go vote, but it was one of those situations where like vote, but before you vote, please create a whole ass account and log in and tell us what types of products you like first. And I just wanted a thing where I could click a box and say go.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
I know you had to make a login, and I did not want to make a login to vote on if there was going to be a Billie Eilish boomerang idol.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just like connected to my Paramount Plus, but who cares? So I think because now we've lost prior to the vote out at the end, we'd lost 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
So we could divvy up the tribes again to where each tribe had the same amount of people. So I think that it was kind of like, okay, are we going to do it now or are we going to do it, in another 2 or 3 episodes from now?
Sure. I mean, but there was going to be a tribe swap no matter what. But did we get to vote on if Jeff was going to rap before the tribe swap? Do you know?
Right.
We obviously we didn't because
I would have voted yes. We need more. We need more. Rap.
Did you watch Chicken and Waffles in 48?
I don't know what that. Am I having a stroke? I don't know what that.
Oh, he made the cast of 48 like sing about chicken and waffles so that one of the winning tribes could get it, and it was maybe the most embarrassing moment of the whole entire series and all of time.
I completely forgot about this, and I know I watched 48, but I do know there was also backstory of Jeff in one season reciting "Lose Yourself."
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
So Jeff likes to rap, I guess.
I don't think Jeff has good people around him.
No.
I'm going to be honest. I feel like something is very out of control there. It was very confusing. It was almost like community theater, and that's just not giving season 50 to me.
It really isn't.
It's
And
it has the feeling of like no one is afraid. I mean, everyone's afraid to say no to him.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's also giving summer camp in
Mhm.
the way that you're like, oh, the people who run this summer camp are goofballs. They'll do whatever. But it's not summer camp. It's Survivor 50. And we're here for the players. We're not here for Jeff, quite frankly.
I will
I
say I was
agree.
impressed that he was able to keep time with just that crowd snapping.
Who were notably none of them snapping on any sort of beat at all. Now, Jess, why don't you give us the lay of the land of the new tribes and what you feel are maybe the most. Look, I don't need to always steer this ship, but I just
Yeah.
think that there's something important about, like, I think each tribe has like one lead note on like why this is interesting. Do you think that way? I mean, I'm sure there's multiple reasons, but is there something that jumps out to you that way?
Uh, I would say, like, if we're talking about Sela, which is Cerie's old tribe and her new tribe,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's set up for us to be nervous that Cerie's going to get voted out because Dee and Jonathan are like talking about that, and Dee and Jonathan also have two other of their tribe members on this new tribe,
Mm-hmm.
but Cerie's the biggest threat in the game, and after her, Dee's the second next biggest, and Jonathan's the third next biggest. So they need her for a shield. It's stupid for them to get rid of her this early.
I'm
And
still not clear on why D is the biggest threat or
she,
outside of Fury.
she already won, and she is like a physical challenge beast. Like she also is tied for the record for most um, uh, women's challenge immunity challenge wins.
Okay.
And she also has like a really good social game. I didn't really care for her season, so I've only watched it once.
She's also not afraid to like flip
Mix it up.
flop. She's a regular John Kerry. She'll flip flop.
Got
on
it.
The issues.
All right. Thanks for that timely reference. Yeah.
Of course, I'll talk to you about speedboats on next episode. So, or
Perfect.
swift boats. Anyway? What about Kahlo, Jess?
I think that we are being set up here for Genevieve to get her way, and everyone throws their votes on Aubrey, and Aubrey uses the idol, and it kicks Genevieve out of the game. So if this group goes to tribal, I think that's what's going to happen. I think that even though they showed Genevieve like running around and like, kind of like hustling to talk to everybody, I watched that edit like a bunch of times, and I don't actually think it's as frantic as it looks to us. But I do think that Aubrey's going to know to play her idol at the first tribal she goes to with this crowd.
For sure. I might have a little bit of advice for Genevieve, which I'm sure she would love to take in real life. But Vatu, what are we thinking here?
Vatu is just going to be Stephanie's next to leave, and then Ozzy, and then there'll be a merge.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be the David and Goliath people plus Emily, and maybe Ozzy. Like
if that
he
team
can
keeps losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think that they might. They aren't stacked.
Well, I think you're right on point here. Molly, do you have any tribes you're rooting for at this point? Is there a team that you're really like, now that they've switched it up, you're like, I want to see them go the long?
Well, I think that since I'm so used to the teams that I feel like we spent the most time with like Christian, Emily, and stuff, I really do like them. Although I have new updated thoughts on Christian that are not good. I watched some of those preseason interviews over the weekend. I'm just trying to catch up. I'm trying to be less of an ignoramus on here. And there was a preseason interview that Christian did, which I think was part of Rob Sesternino's YouTube, but it was not Rob doing the questioning. And he was talking a lot about ripping ass and going number 2 And, like, I think he shit his pants on purpose. I think he has a scat kink. I'm really disgusted by it. I take back what I said about his kid finding it funny. I feel like Christian is playing out some sort of scat kink on us, and I am deeply resentful of that. Um, and then, I also know that if Suri's on a tribe or whatever, it's gonna do well. Like, the discord in there is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still not really obsessed with any of the tribes yet, but I still have my thoughts on players.
Now, I love this theory on Christian scat kink because I could see that totally being true. I also think he's got this new baby. He's up to his wrists and shit. It's the only thing he can think about.
I just thought it was like, and I'm actually gonna turn on Coach majorly in this episode, but like he just seemed to like get a lot of pleasure out of like, yeah, I like ripped ass in front of Coach at the buffet. This is when they were at, I guess, what they call the Ponderosa, which is like the pre-meetup, and it's like, brother, like shut up. Like I've heard enough. Like calm down. Like I don't know. I don't like it when people who really rely on scatological humor think that all of us at the end of the day are going to find that funny because there's a large portion of society that frankly is too dignified to be playing in that. You probably like that.
I mean, I'm
Believe it.
trying to not get up and walk away right now from this conversation.
Why?
Oh, because I'm a big time. I don't want to talk about that.
Gotcha.
It was bad enough I had to watch it for one episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Christian needs to do some work.
And we'll help if he needs advice. He can write in to contact at plzsurvive.com. Hey, and so can you, listeners, if you
Yes.
would like advice, and we will give it to you on this podcast. But Jess, where do we go from here?
Well, I think while we're on the subject of Christian, why don't we touch down with that tribe?
Okay.
Also because we spent the most time with them. Now, what did you guys think of his interruption during tribal council when Mike White was talking?
Oh, we're
Just lacking self-awareness, I think.
yeah. I think he was. I think there's like a what I think like you could say he was trying to take a spotlight off of Mike, who will talk and talk and talk. But I just think it's more on he's the sort of geeky guy that's like, oh yeah, and I've got something to say too, and doesn't, lacking self-awareness. Like, will jump in to say the thing that's on his mind, even if someone's in the middle of a sentence.
I did think they were a little heavy-handed though when they were like, "Oh yeah, like by all means, like interrupt one of the greatest
Yeah.
writers of all time." Or I'm like, "Calm down, like this is also conversational. Like this is how conversation works. Like
We don't
it's
want
okay."
Mike stealing every single thing because Jeff wants to be on the White Lotus.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so I think that most of the time it's probably like, like ADHD, like impulse control, like interruptions, but I felt like this was like an aggressive move to take the narration back. That he's been in control of for the first two episodes. I felt like it was like trying to assert some, maybe not dominance, but at least like I'm equal. And then I think it's like, I don't think it's great for Jeff to be like, well, we have one of the best, like blah, 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 because it's like putting a hierarchy out there.
Yep.
Just because like you value TV more than, robotics or whatever. And it's like enough with the sideshow already. Just vote Mike out and like let them play Survivor already.
Yeah.
Jess, when I was watching this Christian interview, and I'm sorry guys to keep bringing this up, but because it's not technically about the episode, but you had mentioned your idea on here that I think is now I'm realizing is more pervasive, which is that each original tribe was cast with someone who fits a certain role, right? And
Mhm.
Christian was sort of launching that same theory in his interview. And I think that doesn't know what to do now that like there has been a switch up in what he thought was going to be the thing. And I'll say honestly, I don't think there was very few of them that I thought handled this mix up very well. Like it was really nightmarish at certain points to watch these people realize that like the, sort of version of this game that you thought it was isn't what's going on anymore. And like adapting feels like it has to be everything here.
Yeah, this certainly is not one of my like more favorite tribe swaps. Because also like you end up with something like all 3 players from the same season who are real life friends now on the same tribe. It's just like, I mean, like Steph, like pack your bags now, like, or like just follow Q right out the door, like with your torch, like you're done.
And I think that we don't need to get into this now, and maybe we can, when we talk about what Jess, you and Molly might be doing on the YouTube channel later, we can talk more about this. But the idea that now this tribe has 3 people from their previous season, and that's already more strong than any other group that we've seen on there, I think shines a lot, because there's already rumors going on that there was like a Zoom call alliance between some of these people, and that there are other people from previous teams that will do the, like, what was the thing from Housewives of Salt Lake City where Monica like ran a snark account, like didn't a girl, wasn't it Soph, did like torch snuffer or something and got called out on it? Like, so these people are living and breathing this outside of the show.
Yeah. I guess like Emily and Christian play like online role playing games together or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And then like, I mean, who would have known that Ozzy was Mike White's waiter 1,000 times?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
know,
I'm sure.
I wanted to know what restaurant it was so bad.
I know.
Well, obviously, this is when he lived in L.A., and this is how we know Mike White is a superfan, because he sought out the restaurant Ozzy worked at.
Do you think that's what it was? I assumed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I don't think it was the other way around. I don't think that, like, Mike White was like, oh, that guy from the restaurant I go to all the time is now on Survivor. I think
almost wondered if it was like Soho House or some other sort of place where you might just run into. I mean, LA's a small world, but
I assumed that it was like Ozzy was on Survivor, like in the I forget what maybe like 2008 or whatever. And then after that, Mike was not super famous yet. Like he was still like School of Rock Enlightened on HBO famous, not White Lotus famous. And I think in my head, I feel like that's when he was like, oh, there's that kid from Survivor.
Exactly.
Before they both were like, before Ozzy had been on the show 4 times, before Mike White became White Lotus Mike White.
Exactly.
I think Rob's projecting also a little bit of his behavior at Sir onto Mike White.
Wow.
Mike, it's actually possible that like these people could have just run into each other, Rob.
Of course.
No, impossible. I do not believe it.
You know what?
Sorry, buddy.
I thought was particularly interesting that we learned on this tribe was like Angelina's sense of where she stood in her original tribe, I believe is incorrect. Like she said that for sure the next person that was going to be out was Rizzo and then Genevieve. And like the edit shows the whole, like that whole tribe minus Aubrey liked Genevieve much more than Angelina. Like Q called her a statue. Like in that original tribe, Angelina was going to go before Genevieve, in my opinion. And I think that like Angelina has like a lack of awareness from that early part of the game, but I think that she's gonna like kick it up now.
Do you think this is because, of course, Christian had like last minute told her that Aubrey has an idol, so if we get split up, and then Emily's freaking out and trying to find new alliances and realizes that by telling everyone else like Q and Stephanie that she's now just being used as like a goat and a tool to be brought along. So she's like, no, I need to go back and rethink this, and connects with Angelina. And I was wondering, to kind of what you were thinking, Jess, like, is this something Angelina's just saying to Emily.
Yeah.
Also to garner sympathy and to hopefully make a super team with the David and Goliath audience.
I don't think so,
tribe.
because she was crying in her confessional, and I found that to be odd.
Maybe.
Obviously, the confessional could be from another time,
Yeah.
because editing. But no, I felt like and also because to us, the viewer, she did do nothing for the first 2 episodes. And again,
Sure.
I am a big Angelina fan, so I was annoyed that she wasn't really even in the show. But I feel like she was like a non-factor.
Can I ask, was Angelina like a little bit of like maybe a party girl or something like on her season? Because I know that she sort of talks about how much growth she's had, and I'm wondering what she was versus what she is now.
She was just very blunt, and wasn't.
She embellished a lot too, in a way that she totally believed what she was saying, but everyone else was just like, that's not the truth, and we can tell, but we also know that you believe this. So weird.
Yeah. Reliable narrator.
Yeah.
Watching
Wow.
Emily's spin was really unfortunate. I understood that that was very destabilizing that Christian told her that. I also don't know how else she could have taken that other than he was trying to give her a heads up. With regards to wherever they landed. But yeah.
That you could have said, give me 10 reactions to how Emily's going to receive this news, and none of my 10 guesses would have been this.
Yeah. It was very crazy. It was wild.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show you how easily you can get in your own head if you're an overthinker, especially on Survivor.
Or if you are a financial analyst like Emily Flippin.
And you're trying to analyze the situation. And I think that there's also something to be said that she knows Christian is a strong player. And she's like, wow, it's the first moment he hasn't talked about shitting, and he's telling me about this idol? I've got to, why? Why now? Why couldn't he have found me at 5 a.m. on the beach? Why is it this? And maybe just a distrust of Christian in that way.
So I also think that Emily and Suri on the original Sela before they did the swap actually are a lot closer than we were led on. And I think that Emily may think that she is Suri's number one. If you go back to that hammock scene, they're in it together, giggling and stuff. And then there's also a deleted scene where they're talking to each other from across the beach, and Suri is sort of miming, is this your shirt? And Emily's like, no, it's Jenna's. But everyone's sitting there, but she's Suri's only yelling at Emily, and Emily's it felt sort of intimate in a way that you would, even though everyone was there, it felt I got you, is this your shirt?
Gotcha.
I rescued it, or whatever.
I would like to say something about the immunity challenge if everyone's okay with me moving on to this.
Yeah, I have a lot. Yeah.
I hate this type of immunity challenge. I hate the shouting immunity challenge because I do not think, and maybe this is an advice section, but I don't think this plays well on television. I don't think it doesn't play well on television. It never has. I've never been a fan of it. And I also think that it's too easy to see through a blindfold. They can look down.
100%. When Rizzo was like, I got it. He was so comfortable being like, I got it. When he picked up the circle, I'm like, I don't know, dude. There's a lot of circles on the ground. The fact that I'm not trusting.
I went outside today with a buff over my face, and I could see perfectly, not perfectly fine, but I had no issue. I literally tested it myself earlier today.
Yeah,
wow.
It's not.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Does.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the Lord's work here, and so I don't really see much benefit from this, especially the fact that our boy Colby might have CTE now, which is no fun. So both Colby and Coach now both have CTE.
the way Jeff was like, "Yeah, it's Survivor, you're gonna get pretty knocked." I'm like, he might have a brain bleed. Like,
Yeah.
Colby was very much struggling underneath that, and I get it. I'm a perseverer. Like, I'm here right now in a way that, like, I should probably be at the doctor's. I should be at urgent care right now, and I'm like, I gotta do the Survivor podcast. So, I'm already catching on to a little bit of that spirit as well. But I could not believe, how like Colby really looked like he was struggling, and we're calling the whole team out for Kyle's goddamn ankle, and Colby's like, he's an older gentleman as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no fun, and I just I there's too much shouting. I can handle like Jeff shouting at people. But when it's just I feel like I need like noise canceling headphones when I'm watching this type of challenge. Luckily they don't happen a lot, but it just doesn't feel good, and then added to the fact that obviously people can see through a buff in some way is ridiculous to me.
Now, I don't know if this is part of the same challenge. Is it the one that ultimately like they're putting the puzzles together at the end? Okay. So I wanted to say something. And this will cut into my advice later, but I just wanted to point out I thought it was so fucking ugly the way that Coach went to Chrissy and said,
Yes.
like, "You're just talking a little too much." Like, and it was incredibly misogynistic the way he said it. And listen, like, that is never sometimes you have to deliver a piece of advice like that, and it is never easy, okay? I wanna make things easier for you. But the way he said it, it was just sort of a directionless piece of, like, kinda like, "Shut up," basically. And not like, "Oh, well, I noticed when people were around the camp, like, sometimes you'd get going on something like it wasn't even it was just overall, shut up, and I was so proud of her watching the way that she was the one who kind of verbally guided people through this the best. And I feel like the puzzle in particular is the thing that would get a lot of people on. I was thinking like, God, if someone said turn it 180 or like if someone said like hold it the long way, I'd be like, what way's the long way? Like that is
Yeah.
such a difficult task to talk someone through, and I was just really happy for her that she didn't just do it, but she did it well. I was very happy for her.
Yeah, and I would like to also I have a note about the Coach Chrissy dynamic. Like, look, that's the other thing on their tribe that is coming together, this like honor and integrity alliance, which is I mean, I hate it because that's as we talked about last episode, that's not how you play Survivor. Like you can lie to yourself and say you're going to play an honorable game until you justify the fact that you have to blindside or lie to someone. It's just a matter of time. When Coach is trying to say, I'm coming to you in good faith about the last tribe, he doesn't do the honorable thing, like you're saying, Molly, of going, look, this might be hard to hear, but people were saying you were kind of being bossy and talking a lot, but not doing as much. I didn't think that. Like, if you're going to lie, I'd be like, that's not how I felt, but I heard people saying that, so I want to give you a heads up. But instead, he does the, you were a little. That doesn't give her anything.
Yeah.
All that gives is makes her think the worst possible scenario, that I was chirping at people and annoying, and if that would bring me to tears too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Because it's like I think clear direction is necessary and like, just saying like exactly. Like exactly. And not having that diplomacy is like I
Nothing
don't know. At
honorable.
that point, if they were the only 2 from that team and he was the only one who could say that, I don't really remember, exactly if anyone else came over from their group, but, like, that if I was Coach, I would have put that in the mouth of someone else, like, 100%.
Um, okay, couple things about that. I agree with you guys, that delivery was not great. Coach had the same exact thing done to him on Heroes and Villains. Tyson, like, took him in the middle of a night and was like, Coach, you got to stop being so weird. You got to stop telling your stories. No one fucking believes them. You can't wear feathers in your hair. If you're going to do Tai Chi, go down on the beach so nobody can see you do your Tai Chi.
I saw that clip last night and I was levitating, and I hadn't seen the episode yet, but I saw that out of place and it was just like, stop telling your stories.
Yep.
Stop wearing feathers in your hair to tribal. Do your Tai Chi away from us. Like, I just thought it was so specific and so great, and also caught me up on the madness that was Coach that season in such a very specific way. So thank you to whoever posted that to twitter.com last night, because I was losing my mind over it. So funny.
On our Instagram, we have a post up showing the parallel from that season 20 with Coach and Tyson. What's interesting is Tiffany came over.
I'm sorry, stop wearing feathers in your hair to tribal. It's still so funny because you couldn't tell if it was an issue of like tone deafness, like if he was showing up like, I don't know, being like racially insensitive or whatever.
Wearing a 2006 Halloween costume.
Yeah, but it's so funny.
So those two guys had played on a season together previously, like 2 seasons before. So even that was like, okay, they already spent like 40 days together. You know, like Chrissy and Coach are like on, like day 6, but Tiffany's also there, and Coach said that everybody was going to vote Chrissy out. And so when Chrissy starts crying and Genevieve and Aubrey are like, Chrissy's like, can we go have a girls talk? And they take her down to the beach. They don't bring Tiffany, and and I wonder if it's because Tiffany was part of that group, like Dee, Camilla, Charlie, who all found Chrissy to be annoying. And so I just think that's something to watch out for.
Yeah. There's also the thing in Survivor, though, of strategically leaving a person behind to make sure people don't talk about your group. And I think both things can be correct here. Or
she was doing her confessional.
Yeah, or it could be anything. Or hey, maybe she was Christian learning how to take a shit. Now, we have a little bit more to get through, and I want to keep us on track, but I do think it's important to talk about this Charlie Rizzo conversation.
One sec before we go there, I just want to note, like when everybody gets to the challenge and Jeff's like, strategize, they're like picking their own person to be tethered to. And so I just like, if you're so inclined, go back and look at the pairs and how they interact. I feel like because it's the first day that they're like with their new tribe, who are people clinging to? Like, that's how I like know that Suri and Devins are like for real, because the way that they like clung to each other was like, like intense. And it's why I think why Genevieve's more safe on her tribe than Aubrey, because she was with Coach and they like whatever. Anyway, yes, the Rizzo and Charlie scene is the highlight of the episode for me.
Now,
Really?
Molly,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask how this hit you. Like the Rizzo kind of fanboying over Charlie and then talking about how they could be pals and work together in this game.
All right. I mean, oof. So I will say, for all of this to culminate, I'll start at the end. For all this to culminate with Charlie not being able to let go of how Rizzo played last season when he voted out the person that he was closest to in the game, and for Charlie to be like, that happened to me, I can't move on from there, I want to keep him off jury. I don't know what jury means, but I do know that like Rizzo has his strategy is wearing thin on me already, where it's sort of this lazy out for oneself type strategy. And it's like the same as in any other sort of sort of like celebrity circle or something. You have to act cool.
Yeah.
I feel like Rizzo is there to like pick up fan tidbits that, it's like, and I understand wanting to satisfy those questions while you have the people in front of you and like you're not sitting in front of like truly famous people and sort of getting details out of them. But like I would be like, why are we servicing the fanboy? Like, why are we giving up parts of ourselves to this fanboy? I just don't know what his strategy is other than just like not being super helpful to others and living out some sort of fantasy. I don't know. What would you think I would think?
No, I just wanted to know if it hit the same way, because I had to do a little research because, like I said, I don't remember anything after a season airs. But I forgot that, like, obviously this wound is still open for Charlie, um, but it also is a game. And Jess, you might be able to explain this better, but it really was the deciding vote. It really was a sort of thing where, like, Charlie was going to win, except for his partner throughout the whole thing was so disgruntled that he had a choice of going further in the game or voting out his partner, that she made sure he didn't win by any means. And maybe that's a little too. Maybe there's a little bit more nuance to it. But Jess, I do want to say before I get your take on this, we cannot let Molly know what jury means until it happens on the show.
Okay.
Right. Well, wait, I will say though that like, this is a little bit what fucking wild Jenna that with her wild hair in her was talking about when she's like, we all have blood on our hands. Like, it sounds like Charlie might have a little bit of blood on his hands and he's uncomfortable with the way that how that led him, to not winning.
Also, do we know which Taylor album is Charlie's favorite? Because I'm guessing it's Folklore.
No, he's definitely going to be like a Speak Now or a Red. I think he's a really big fan, right?
He when he talks about songs, I feel like the most he talks about are songs from Red.
Okay.
So I would guess Red, which is also my favorite Taylor album, but whatever.
But the
yeah,
Maria stuff.
Anyway, so I actually never in my life do I want to side with a man or really even want to try to like empathize with a man. But
Amen.
I am 100% with Charlie here. It was like brutality. Like Maria was like, "Oh my god, like when we finish the game, like you're going to be my kids' uncles." And then like for like a few days he was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to meet them. They're going to have an Uncle Charlie." And they were like such a close duo. And like there was no reason for Maria not to vote for Charlie. They played the same game until Charlie got her first. And a lot of people are like, well, it would have only tied the vote. That's true. It would have been 4-4. And so the person who was third place then would get to vote. And that person has confirmed he would have voted for Charlie. So Charlie would have won. And it's so known that Devins like literally makes a joke to Rizzo. Are people going to call you a Maria?
Yeah.
Which is so funny. It was so funny that I had to rewind it twice to make sure I credited the right person who asked the question, because like, I mean, I wish I could convey to you how hilarious that is.
But didn't Charlie have to fuck over Maria in order to...
They were trying to do it to each other at the same time. It's not really about that they got each other out of the game. It's that Charlie got to the end and Maria voted for the other, like a different person to win who didn't play it.
She was trying to do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So like that's like no harm, no foul. Like we both did it. But then she like basically stabbed him for no reason. Also, she lobbied hard against him at Ponderosa.
Yeah. It was like the fact that they don't talk anymore is also like that they couldn't get over it is wild and unfortunate. Another thing I just find interesting, and then I know we can move on, is that Kenzie, who did win that season, has like disappeared, it seems, from like Survivor lore. Like
I think she's pregnant.
Yeah, I think she had a
Again.
kid like immediately, and then but like she doesn't seem to do anything.
Agreed.
Is she a blonde that like because I saw a tweet going around about some blonde woman who like won her season and is literally dropped off the face of the planet? No.
No, that tweet was about Natalie White who won Samoa against Russell Hantz.
Okay.
So no, I saw that tweet as well. Another thing that Rizzo that has implications from this is that I think that not just Charlie is going to target Rizzo now, but I think that this awoke Dee, because I don't know if you heard, but Dee said you voted for Soph, right? Now, why would Dee know to call Sophie Soph
Yeah.
if that season didn't air yet?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that Dee knows Sophie because they're both from Miami. So now Dee is going to think that Rizzo effed over his number one, who
Was
is
that also Torch
her-
Stuffer, Soph?
Yes, yes,
So this
Torch
is why.
stuffer.
yes.
Yeah.
So I want to be the first person to point this out.
Yeah.
I heard her refer to her as Soph, and there's no reason why that should have happened. She should not have given her a nickname. She doesn't know her, in theory. So I think Rizzo is out before Suri.
Yeah, this
You
is
think
also
that
important
maybe
because
she hunted her down at the restaurant she works at, like some big Survivor Superfan freak, like Mike White did with Ozzy.
No, actually, Sophie met Dee at one of Dee's viewing parties when Dee's season was airing.
I'm sorry, Rob. I love you.
No, I think that Mike White found it. Mike White was a Survivor superfan, found out where Ozzy worked. It was nearby where he was writing an episode of Dawson's Creek and was like, oh, cool. I don't think
Mike wrote on Dawson's?
I believe so. Yeah, I've seen
I
him
gotta
on
dig
an
around on that IMDb.
Yeah. The other thing is that there was 2 Sophies on that season. So one had to go by Soph, and this is even more why this makes so much sense. But now there's a little bit of a tribal scramble because guess who's going back to tribal? Same people as before, except a few new ones. This is interesting because we get to see exactly how bad Q's game is. Because
I disagree.
you see, here's what I'm trying to say is
Could you defend this, Jess?
I can.
Q has a really good game when it works out for him, but you realize that like 1 or 2 things destroy his entire game. But just defend it. I want to hear the defense.
So Q has no vote.
Yes.
The only person that knows that is Stephanie. So he tells Mike to throw a vote on him, thinking that everyone else is going to vote Stephanie. And Q doesn't let on that him and Stephanie are like, tight. So like this happening would then mean that if he was able to convince like Ozzy, then it would have been a tie. And on a revote, Q doesn't get a vote and Angelina doesn't get a vote. And so it would have ended up being that they had more votes to actually kick Angelina out on the tiebreak.
So what my theory is A, it's anyone but me always. Like I'll never have anyone, if I go on Survivor, I'm never saying like, oh, throw a vote on me. That is a death sentence. Secondly, when your plan is this will work if we go to a tie, then I think we need a plan A, and that's a good plan B. And I understand that like in the thinking of this is maybe the only option we have with the information Q has. But man, it's rough to see him do the mental math to make that work.
Yeah. I feel like, while he has some allegiance to Stephanie from that group prior, I feel like the play, as much as I wouldn't ever do this in real life, would be to like, especially knowing that you don't have a vote, to sort of go along. Like, keep your options open. Why ride for Stephanie so hard? Like, you can earn the trust of so many more people by
why not blackmail Ozzy and say, I'm going to tell everyone you have the idol?
Did he
I mean,
know?
He sent it.
Um,
He was with the people that sent
oh,
it.
oh yeah. By the way,
I
Billie Eilish is never living this down.
never,
Never.
not gonna have. Sorry, Billy. This is a bad PR move. Fire your entire team.
And it's also
Um,
strange, don't you think, that she's not interacting with it online? Like, she's not like, yeah, this is my immunity idol. You know, she was
nothing.
owning a little bit more than I would believe that she is about it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
not one single thing. It's very
What
odd.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I mentioned the idol, but I accidentally said the Billy Idol idol,
Now that I could
which
have
is a
gotten
lot more
behind.
funny
Yeah.
and would have been good.
When you get it, you have to shout a rebel yell. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
No, it's fine. I loved
But you're
it.
right, because Q only is missing a vote for one tribal council. It is get by this tribal by any means necessary, because I'm sorry, next tribal is a clean slate, and that's always the thing. It's always just get through the tribal, and he has made Stephanie more important than himself because he can't imagine anyone would vote him out.
Well, I watched a post like exit interview with him today, and he said that had Stephanie gone, he's next to go anyway, and so he didn't want to be left with no allies. So he at least thought, like that part, I
But
don't
that's a
necessarily
agree
self-fulfilling
with, but
prophecy. Like,
well, yeah,
you always have time to turn that around, I would imagine, right?
yeah,
Like,
and maybe there's going to be another journey where he could win an extra vote.
yeah. Or maybe like, there'll just be a moment where he has a heart to heart with someone organically, and they realize that there's a little bit more to him there.
I don't want to not mention him saying, the only person who gets to vote out my number one is me. Which is a throwback to him voting out Tiffany during his season.
Got it.
I also saw a clip on TikTok with Q's postseason interview where he says the captions got it wrong at the end when he turns after the vote to Ozzy and he's like, "Was this you, man?" The subtitles say, "Yeah," but Ozzy said, "Nah." And I thought that's what I heard too. I had to turn it around. Like I rewound it and I was like, and I turned off closed captions. I was like, yeah, this sounds like nah.
I heard, yeah.
But that's what the caption said. They said, yeah, I heard nah, and I saw him shake his head. And so I'm like, why does it say yeah? And Q confirmed that. He's like, no, Ozzy said I was not me.
That's weird.
Yeah, well, the power of editing, my friends. The power of suggestion. Well, anything else we haven't covered yet, Jess, before we give advice?
No.
Or Molly?
No, I think I mean, like, I feel like there's an instant meme like, Christian, I've made a terrible mistake, which reminded me of Arrested Development.
Yeah.
I mean, like Emily is just a chaos machine, and to watch her like short circuit was like very entertaining.
Yes, very much. I find it very fun though that she made a huge mistake, and Christian, like freaking out in his practically shitting his pants in his confessional over there about it, and then it almost actually being a godsend. It ended up strengthening and making them go, oh well, maybe we can think about this in a whole new way now that people know about it, and now that people think you're with them, Emily. This actually strengthens our side, and I found that to be entertaining, that it wasn't just like this person screwed up, let's vote them out now, and it was good. I like that.
Should we give advice?
We got to give some advice. Remember, folks, that's the whole conceit of this is we'd like to give advice to people who will never hear us, unless it's you writing in and sending us a voice note at contact@plzsurvive.com. We'll play that voice note on, or we'll read that email. Ask us. But until we get that, we're going to give some advice to people on this show. Does anyone have a burning desire to go first?
Mine kind of piggybacks on what we're just talking about.
Go for it.
So Mine is not so much an advice as just like a big thank you. And it's a big thank you to the new Vatu tribe for not voting out Stephanie, because to see her reaction to Q getting voted out, and she had no idea, and she is the only person that voted for Angelina. I cannot wait to see Angelina go after her back at camp next time. Stephanie knows she's a sitting duck now. And I don't know if you remember when I said Ozzy is a sore loser. Stephanie invented sore losing. I cannot wait to see how this like manifests and plays out. Like literally just like a sitting duck. I'm so hyped for it.
That's
I'm
awesome.
confused by what the little silly face with the tongue out at the end of it that Stephanie wrote on Angelina's when she wrote down her name. I was so confused by that. I felt like this feels like a secret signal or a sign to someone. Okay, I have a little piece of advice that just for Chrissy, and then I'm going to talk about my boy Christian really quick. Chrissy, you're doing great, babe. Okay, it broke my heart when I heard you say that you fearlessly took on a cancer battle, and then coach's words hurt more for you. That literally, it broke my heart. This game is like, it does not define you. Like the way that you got through that experience says so much more to me than anything you do on this island. And fuck coach for the way he came at you. But then, Rob, what you liked about how Christian sort of handled this Emily thing, I was gonna say, you know what, Christian, here's what instead of just being a really good guy about the way that you handle Emily coming to you and saying this advice, I say you have a little room to show some of that freak out you were having in your confessional to her. And just be like, to really double down and earn that loyalty to be like, Emily, I'm going to be your ride or die no matter what. Like, I
Yes.
need to know that, like, if I tell you something, that you're not going to think that it's my way of, like, the other shoe dropping on you or something like that. If I'm telling you something, it's because I trust you. We have an alliance. Like, I did not like the way that he held back in that moment where he could have just turned the heat up while still staying on message with like, I like you. I've always liked you. Like I was trying to help you out. I need you to trust me. That would have been the way I would have handled it. And so Christian, get it together.
Yeah. Christian, stop being a caricature of yourself. But that's not my advice this time. I appreciate both of your all's advice. I have a tiny piece of advice for Genevieve and then a bigger piece of advice for Coach.
Okay.
Genevieve, a friend to all is a friend to none. Okay? And people might figure that out. I agree with what Jess said that this might just be an edit. It wasn't as like I'm going from person A to B to C to D to talk about Aubrey. It may have not been exactly that. But only 2 or 3 of those people have to come together and go like, oh, Genevieve pulled you to the side to say the same thing about the same person before we start realizing like maybe we're not all on the same page here.
Yeah.
So chill out on that just a little bit. Coach, chill out a lot of bit, okay? You are practically moaning in ecstasy that you have a handful of people that love to use the word honor next to you. Like, shut up, okay? I can respect that people would like to play this game alternatively than backstabbing and lying, but don't pretend like you're not going to do that. So, Coach, you're not going to be a caricature if you actually act like a human being and not a fictional character who's obsessed with his mundane life that ended up being a little bit more exciting by being this like ponytail having guy on Survivor. So Coach, take a step back, act in a way that is the sort of person you'd want to hang out with at a dinner party without the words honor, and maybe go forward that way. So that's my advice for Coach.
Hell yeah. Guys, another successful episode in the can. Um, Thank you so much for listening. Please check out Please PLZ Survive Pod on all your social medias. We are there. We're posting. Jess, Rob, and I talked about it a little bit on Hazzies this week about how we kind of like that, even though the perspective of this podcast is three different people's experience watching the show, that our social media is all from the perspective of one person watching the show, who's a super fan. I think it's really kind of funny and kind of great. So please check that out. Jess's encyclopedic in her knowledge of the show. And yeah, send us an email if you want a piece of advice, or fuck it, if you want to be the person who's giving advice, send it to contact@plzsurvive.com, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.